The YNW Melly trial is turning into something that no one expected. From the judge asking Melly's lawyers if they want a mistrial, to now the focus being shifted onto YNW Bortlen. Here's what you need to know. According to many online lawyers, it seems as if the first day of the YNW Melly trial, it was Melly's lawyers' objective to present the jury the possibility of this crime to be done by YNW Bortlen, not just YNW Melly. As it was reported, YNW Bortlen had powder residue on his hands and a change of clothing when he dropped off Sack Chaser and Juvie to the hospital. YNW Bortlen and YNW Melly were the only two men in the vehicle with them, including this video of YNW Melly's own lawyer breaking it down.
Demon's lies, those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket. Not Cortland Henry. There were 3 phones.
Melly's lawyer reveals that YNW Bortlen also lied to the feds when he was asked about what happened to Sack Chaser and Juvie on the night of their passings. Also mentioning that YNW Bortlen brought a change of clothing, as it's now pretty obvious he knew something was going to happen on this night. The interview of YNW Bortlen lying to the feds was also shared during trial.
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's gotta be some evidence there. There's gonna be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's gonna be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's gonna be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's gonna be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
Shortly after, the famous rap lawyer would also confirm that that was actually YNW Melly's attorney, mentioning that YNW Bortlen had some things to do with this.
And we have an absolute shell being dropped by the defense, a mic drop moment. The lead attorney on Melly's defense team telling the jury that Cortland Henry lied to police when he showed up at Memorial Hospital that morning. He lied about what happened. He lied about not having a phone on him. That Cortland Henry, this is according to Melly's attorney, that Cortland Henry showed up at that hospital with a change of clothes on, and that Cortland Henry showed up at that hospital with powder residue on his hands.
This would shake up social media, leaving many to believe that YNW Melly is now trying to put this onto YNW Bortlen, in other words, snitching. As later on in the trial, we would then hear more evidence of YNW Bortlen having firearm residue on his hands, as we would see a report of forensic scientist that covered the passings in the YNW Melly trial says co-defendant YNW Bortlen tested positive for firearm residue.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of shot residue and 2 component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of shot residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was shot residue present on the hands.
This is making many realize that this trial is now starting to transition into YNW Bortlen being the guilty one. However, YNW Juvie's father, he was not having it. He was reacting and sharing his opinions on YNW Melly, stating he doesn't want the focus to be taken off Melly as he believes he's guilty. We would see a report of the father of YNW Juvie explained why he believes YNW Melly is responsible for this crime.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son on October 26th when I first heard the story, because his explanation, when I finally talked to him and Cortland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits. They wasn't reacting to, they act like they didn't have to take a loss at all. That's how I took it. And then when I was talking to them, I still had in the back of my mind that something's not right.
Juvie's father also mentioned an altercation that occurred 2 days before their passings between Melly and Sack Chaser, involving YNW Sack Chaser messing with Melly and Melly's gold grills falling out in the process. With more and more evidence showing YNW Bortlen's involvement, day 4 of the Melly trial would coincidentally be a massive win for YNW Melly. We even saw the famous rap lawyer mention this on social media.
And it went off the rails for the prosecution today at the YNW Melly trial after a tragic direct examination. At the conclusion of today, the defense asked for a mistrial. You'll see the judge at the end basically say, I'll give it to you if you want it. This is my opinion, read between the lines. Ask your client though if he really wants it, because I'll give it to you. That's what I heard. That's what I saw. He doesn't say it, but reading between the lines, that's what that judge means. Watch this.
Mr. Dennis has been prejudiced. This jury sat there and watched this fiasco unfold with at least 10, maybe 15 sidebars after every 2 questions. And for that reason, we think that it was deliberate. It is highly prejudicial. This jury has been tainted, and we move for a mistrial.
This is exactly where YNW Melly wants to be, 1 week in and in complete control. Now, Rap TV would share context on what a mistrial would mean for Melly, starting with, why would Melly's team file for a mistrial? Well, if a mistrial is granted, it would lead to a built-in appeal, further stating, so what does that mean? This means not only would they have to start this all over again, but Melly's defense team would have a significant built-in advantage in the next trial, because that usually indicates improper admission of evidence or jury misconduct, including a photo of YNW Melly and his lawyer that many people just didn't understand. This photo went viral, many believing YNW Melly is angry with his lawyers, yet it's actually the opposite. You see, when speaking about the mistrial, YNW Melly allegedly didn't understand what it meant. He was then turning to his lawyer and reacting with excitement, hoping that this means he will be released from jail. His hand motions while they look angry is actually him being excited, as this all started when the prosecutor took a witness to the stand, where reports state YNW Melly's ex-girlfriend's mother is a prosecution witness, but it looks like she doesn't want to be there testifying for the state.
I do remember that they kind of me and my daughter to take her to jail for accessory. I do remember that.
Yes. And in terms of the statements that you made about what happened, you don't have any recollection?
No.
Did you read this statement multiple times?
I looked at it and I just didn't recall it, and I don't know.
And so you indicated you hoped you were truthful with law enforcement?
Yes, I did.
I have to ask you to be more definitive. Were you truthful?
I don't remember what I said to them back then, so if I was to tell you something now, I could be lying. I don't want to lie on the stand because you're going to take me to jail. So I'm saying what you want me to say.
I do not want you to say anything, I want you to tell the truth.
Okay, that's what I'm doing.
The prosecutors were hoping and expecting her to fully cooperate and even share what happened on the night of Sack Chaser and Juvie's passings. However, the feds have been allegedly treating her very poorly for the last few months, making her wear a GPS tracking device on her ankle, making her look like a criminal at her work, as well as monitoring all of the steps that she was taking, even believing that the YNW company paid her off, giving her some sort of financial gain in order to not go against Melly. However, the other major win for Melly, leading to his possible now release from jail, was in the report of YNW Melly's reaction when a firearm expert tells the judge he didn't bring the item because he has no idea what item was used in this crime, alongside YNW Melly's funny reaction.
Why not?
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearm was used.
Okay. Do you have a...
However, even with the new evidence that could relate to YNW Bortlen having something to do with this crime, is the wins that YNW Melly has taken so far enough to overtake the losses in this trial? Some of the losses are very concerning. As lawyers have mentioned, cases are largely based off evidence, yes, but sometimes you can build an image on how a crime was committed on just watching the man in question inside of the courtroom, as we would see YNW Melly and his attorney chatting and laughing inside of the courtroom during trial.
Thomas? What Anthony? Oh, Jada is Anthony's? What about Chris's? Do they live here or in Barrel? The mom? Who lives with you at 18521 Southwest 44th Street?
Which is obviously very strange behavior. Then on to the next set of conversation just 30 minutes later, we would then see reports of prosecutors show video of YNW Melly hopping inside of the car that was involved in his friend's passings. Now this would end up taking the smile right off of YNW Melly's face.
Excuse me, you're able to see? Yes? All right.
That never-before-seen footage confirms YNW Melly did get inside of that vehicle with Bortlen, Sackchaser, and Juvie. And now that the smiles were out of the way, we then learned what was YNW Melly and Bortlen doing after the crime was committed. As GPS evidence revealed, after the crime was committed, Bortlen and Melly sat around for 40 minutes. Instead of getting medical attention for Juvie and Sackchaser, it was reported prosecutors say Fredo Bang picked up YNW Melly after the incident involving Juvie and Sackchaser.
And Chris Thomas are... So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Devins is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon, to his current location to one of his friends, Frederick Gibbons. Frederick Gibbons is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up. Frederick Gibbons then, about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin where Mr. Devins has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone calls.
This reveals YNW Melly used that 40-minute time span to call up Fredo Bang, that way he can be picked up and driven somewhere else. However, he also allegedly used that time to stage the drive-by alongside YNW Bortlen. Bortlen used the 40 minutes to create the excuse he was going to use at the hospital. He also used the 40 minutes to change his clothing, and he also allegedly helped out YNW Melly stage the drive-by. And with the YNW Melly trial continuing to share more important moments, we would then see reports of YNW Melly prayed in court this morning before his trial started. Then when the first recess was about to start, we then saw unusual activities by YNW Melly, as videos of him would begin going viral of him acting strange. This would then even lead into the next court recess where YNW Melly is seen doing weird head movements and flexing his diamond grill. Again, I'm going to remind you, this is a trial that could result in the penalty for this man, and he seems unbothered. YNW Melly seems very unbothered by everything. Just as his music manager 100K Track mentioned, Melly has great defenses on his side. So does this mean Melly is super confident he's gonna win?
He built a real great solid team away from just being innocent, because he wouldn't do such a crime. He prepared himself and got a proper, defense. Their job is to handle themselves in trial, not on social media. You guys are taking it that way. If they say they got DNA in a car, I'm just gonna tell you, Melly DNA was found in the car. You're gonna think, yeah, his DNA was found in the car the day of the. Oh, he jumped in a car and his DNA was in the car. He did it, okay? But you're not gonna put the fact that this was his car for 6-7 months on those documents and dockets and just automatically be like, yo, he's fried. You don't even know what the defense is. You don't even know what the rebuttal is. You don't even know why that situation occurred. You hear ballistics flying. You don't know what the defense is. You hear this, you hear that. You get what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest.
Then it was revealed Melly is most likely super confident due to how great his defense team is working, as they were able to get one of the motives the prosecutors wanted to use off of the table and no longer allowed to be used. One of the motives was that YNW Sack Chaser was gonna receive $200,000 from YNW Melly and his record label. However, just a few weeks prior to Sack Chaser getting offered this record deal, YNW Melly's mom would share this online.
Show me text messages from Sack Chaser, all her friends, and all these people. Like, he's about this life. But I'm saying, like, who you ever out at? What you ever did? You couldn't even take charge. If you don't sit your down and don't ever come for me, because my credentials is real. It ain't even a joke. So don't ever try to come for me, because I don't even play them type of games. Like, what you got that I ain't got? Oh, you your look? I got big. At the end of the day, Melly is my child.
With not really any leads popping up, the feds then wanted to really investigate this as a motive. They realized that Melly has stated millions of times his mother is the most important thing in his life. And with her posting a video saying Sack Chaser is messing with her, there's gotta be something deeper to this. So to find answers, the police would go on to attempt to subpoena 300 Entertainment, the record label that YNW Melly works with. However, the detective explained that the company refused to honor their subpoena. The feds would then go on to ask YNW Sack Chaser's mother, Jana Thompson, to expand on the $200,000 payment. Though she specified she didn't know exactly who the alleged payment was from or what it was even for, she said that her son reached out to her a few days before he sadly passed. Where she said, "My son hysterically called me," she said. "He was very concerned about my whereabouts. He was concerned about his sister's whereabouts. He was just very concerned, like something was gonna happen to us. And then he told me he would not get his money." She continued saying, "He said, I'm probably not gonna get my $200,000. I'm probably not even gonna get my money," leaving many to believe that YNW Melly didn't want to pay Sack Chaser the $200,000. However, the feds had to stop completely on investigating this due to Melly's defense team. This would result in rappers reacting to YNW Melly, as his case is now looking stronger than ever, as YNW B-Slime would share this during an interview.
So what's some of the musical advice YNW Melly gave you?
Musical advice: find fire melodies and make money.
No cap. At least you're just straightforward. How was it to see your brother rise to the forefront?
It's kind of like normal to me, because I already knew it was going to happen. It's just a matter of time when.
What can the people expect to see Melly on?
What could it be? I would say a cheat code for the rap game.
This would then cause Drake to talk about YNW Melly during an interview.
A kid like YNW Melly who
just has the craziest melodies, pain in his voice, you know, but not afraid to just be like, yeah, sure, like I might be this way on road, but in my music, this is what I enjoy doing.
To even then Kodak Black sharing his favorite memory with YNW Melly, as well as saying to free him.
Yeah, man, free that boy Melvin, man, free Melly.
Man, stop playing. We're not playing like that. Oh, you gonna